Greetings, fellow winos. Tonight I'd like to talk to you about some wines that I think have been underrepresented on wine lists and on people's tables. They happen to be one of my favorites and have been for quite some time. What am I talking about? German wines in general, and Riesling in particular. The first wines from Germany that I came across were called Liebfraumilch. They had this blue nun on the front, and as a matter of fact, they were made by a company called Blue Nun. Not bad, and they made me fascinated in that I thought, if this is, the run-of-the-mill stuff, I wonder what the good stuff's like. So I started finding good German wines. Now, there are three general categories of German wine. The most common is Tafelwein, or table wine in English, but you aren't going to find that over here because they're not very distinguished and they're pretty much just, quaffed in the local area. The next level up, though, is called Qualitätswein. Qualitätswein means that the only thing you're allowed to do to it is maybe add a little sugar to kick up the alcohol levels. An example of a really good Qualitätswein is this one here. It's made by Wino. You can see it says Riesling up at the top. This is a 2012. You even see that they tell you where it came from, die time. This is not as detailed as German labels used to be, which is probably a good thing, because they used to really overkill it. Qualitätswein from Germany are frequently a really good value and are usually very tasty regardless of the vintage. So, Qualitätswein, remember that? You'll find it usually in small print on the back if it's not on the front. Now the next level up from Qualitätswein, and the top level, is what's called Prädikatswein, or sometimes Qualitätswein mit Prädikat. What this means is they can't do anything other than ferment the grapes, perhaps stop the fermentation by chilling it and centrifuging out the yeast and bottling it, but that's it. The German laws are very strict on this accord. So this is the most untouched and unsullied version of German wines. Within the Prädikatswein category, there are several subcategories. Cabernet means the first harvest. These tend to be the driest and the least sweet of all the German wines. This is a nice example of a Cabernet here from the Moselle region. In addition to Cabernet, there are several other classifications that depend on when the grapes are harvested. Spätlese means late harvest. Auslese means very late harvest. Beerenauslese means selected bunches from the late harvest, and Trockenbeerenauslese means selected dried bunches, very late harvested. As you might imagine, the sweetness level of the wines go up with the lateness of the harvest. In addition, there is this wonderful fluke that sometimes occurs when the temperature gets down below freezing before they harvest and the grapes freeze. This allows them to pick the grapes while they're frozen, press them while they're frozen, thus removing a lot of the water and way increasing the sugar level. And these are called, of course, ice wines. Very delicious, practically immortal, almost impossible to find and difficult to afford. But just so you know, if you come across one at a reasonable price, buy it. And for the last word, German wine labels used to be fairly complicated and extremely specific about where the wine came from. They don't do that very much anymore, but sometimes they still do. And it's kind of nice because it turns out that much like in Burgundy and Bordeaux, the specific vineyards have specific characteristics. And that may give you an idea of which ones are your favorite and where they come from, and which ones maybe you don't care so much for. Now, on this wine label, you see underneath the Riesling Cabernet, it actually gives you the village, Nierstein, and the particular vineyard in Nierstein where it came from. Nierstein is the possessive of Nierstein. The Germans like putting ER in things. So this was the way they always used to be. You don't see this so much anymore, but it can be very useful if you find that there's a particular vineyard that you really like. And now, my favorite part. As you can see, this has a beautiful golden color. It's about the right temperature, I think. Maybe a little cold because I'm getting a little condensation in the glass, but I'll risk it anyway. Wonderful fruity aromas. Little pineapple and lemongrass. Fairly rich on the palate. Typical of the area in Germany that this comes from, the Rheinhessen. But incredibly yummy. Find some, try some. If you don't like it, leave me a comment and say so, and I'll try to do better next time. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment. I'm always willing to learn. In the meantime, though, enjoy. Prost!